Welcome everybody to another episode of LanceScurv, LanceScurvX.com, the Scurv podcast. I just want to wish everyone a grand awakening. I know over in the States, many of you may be sleeping or getting ready to go to sleep, or you're probably already knocked out. And I was just inspired to come out here live on one of my balconies and just share some of my thoughts that may help to clarify what a lot of people are going through right now. There's so many of us that are dealing with various types of attacks, and we get weary. We're human. We get tired. We want to break. And lots of times, it's not even just one attack. It could be multiple attacks. And many people tell me, they say, Lance, I understand what you're getting at. I understand where you're coming from by speaking about these things so much. But does it have to be like this all the time? Where you're talking about attacks and you're talking about, negative energies. Well, there's so many people, from my viewpoint, being on social media for so long, I'm no different than anybody else. Many people are on social media and have friends in real life, whether it's social media or not, that are going through things. And since I'm at a point right now where I have made it very tough to be reached, to be attacked, and I've gone through a lot in my life, but why not give a leg up to somebody who's going through it and the mind games that come along with it? Because first of all, I want to say that when you're getting attacked on various levels in your life, that means that you're closer to your victory. That means you're getting close. Because see, an attack may come through a person. It may come to you in your own mind. Whichever way it comes, you have to know that you are energy, right? We are energy. We forget that sometimes. You look in the mirror and you see your face and you're like, oh, okay, that's me. No, that's not you. That's your physical body, right? The bottom line is that you are energy and we are encased in these bodies through this journey in this lifetime. And as you well know, if you have light inside of you, just like the title says, you're attacked so much because of your light. Now, some people who are not on a certain level are going to say, well, wait a second, what do you mean by light? I can throw on a light switch and throw on some light. Well, guess what? Even in that, there's a lesson, right? Have you ever had a floodlight in your backyard or just a floodlight outside that you observed? Well, at nighttime, when that light is on, guess what? What do you see? You see so many people looking up at the bugs that light attracts. Say, man, look at that one. You see bugs that you never knew existed flying around. If that light wasn't on, then it wouldn't attract those bugs, right? There was a light by a friend's house growing up that was by their stairwell to come in to the side entrance that led down to the basement where we would hang out. His folks didn't like people hanging out on the middle floor, or of course not upstairs. So keep the noise down in the basement. So when we would visit, we had to go to the side door, but there was a big floodlight over the door. So it made it almost impossible as a kid to go over there, was that we had to go past these things flying around. I was like, I don't want to go past all those bugs. One might get on me. So we had to deal with that. But what's the lesson? When you have light, it's going to attract things, right? So you going about your day, minding your business, not looking to bother anybody, not looking to take from anybody, not looking to use anybody or manipulate anybody. You're moving about through this world with a pure mind. And none of us is perfect. So I'm not going to say that. But you pretty much have it together. You're positive, you're enthusiastic, and there are entities that will be attracted to you just like bugs to that floodlight. And they're not attracted to you because they like you. They're not attracted to you because you're a great person. Oh, yeah. They're attracted to you because of your light and for the fact that you are a good person, but not to get around you to enjoy life or have a moment of positivity. No, those types of entities, and we're speaking people because that's how the energy works. You know, you don't see electricity around your house, you see the wires. You either cut the switch on or you leave it off, depending on your needs. But it's there. There's electricity all around your apartment or your home, except that you can control it. Well, there's energy around you, except that it's not the electric energy that we know in our house. It's the spiritual energy contained within the people, right? But see, here's the thing. With electrical current, we can identify, right, the wires that are in your home or your apartment, the ground wire, the green one, the hot wire, right? That black wire or the white one, right? So you know which one is hot and which one not to touch. The trick is in real life, when you have people come around you where you don't know their energy, right? And energies can change too. There's no way of identifying if it's a neutral wire, if it's a hot wire with a charge, right? Or if it's just a ground wire. You don't know. And these energies that come to you in the form of people, they can mask who they are. They can mask the charge that they have inside. So you have to be careful. And again, remember, it's not just people, it's systems, right? It's hierarchies. So here you are dealing with the world and you wonder why you're under attack so much. There are systems in place in this world. There are organizations, there are clubs, there are secret societies that are there that you don't know about that may be blocking your advancement in your career simply because they know that you are not one of them. You have people who are into all types of things and they'll hide it with a smile. They could be into the occultic practices. They can be into all types of stuff that are diametrically opposed to your energy. It may look good, but it may not be good. So you have to take your time and test your spirit or test their spirit and see how you feel. Many people will say, oh, you have to have the gift of discernment. For others, that may be too much of a heavy designation. Some people say, trust your gut. It's the same thing. Or follow your first mind. And most of the times when you have lived long enough on this planet, you'll understand that and think back and say, you know what? Every time I didn't trust my gut, every time I didn't follow my first mind, every time I didn't test the spirit and use my own spiritual discernment, no matter what the language, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And every time you went against it, it was something that happened that wasn't advantageous to your ascension and whatever it is that you were trying to accomplish. So you learn that instinct. And so for me, I've learned that, and it's always protected me. And it was only when I saw the red flags and ignored them, and lots of times with individuals around me, I've seen the red flags, but the facade was so convincing that I went into my own mind and argued with myself. I saw what I saw as far as a red flag, but it couldn't be. They're a good person. Listen to how they talk. Listen to how convincing and they must know what they're talking about. Something must be wrong with me. No, that can't be a red flag. And you see it repeatedly over time, these red flags that keep popping up. But then when the revelation really comes out about who this person really was, you had to shake your head. And sometimes you wanted to hit yourself in the head because you knew all along. Don't trust the appearance. Don't trust the words. See the energy of this person. Because when you are a person of light, you are going to attract the creepy, crawly things that are out there at night, symbolically like those bugs that are attracted to the floodlight. And I made a statement in a prior video a few days ago about sometimes to be covert, sometimes to move undercover, you have to hide your happiness. In this case, sometimes you have to go undercover with your light, because the minute that you open your mouth and identify who you are just by the way you talk, being a positive person, these negative energies and entities will identify you and know that the battle is on. Know that they're going to come for you. See, and why do they do this? Well, from what I've found through experience, is that it may not have been anything you did to them. As a matter of fact, when you're a person who has a positive light and enthusiastic about life and you're God centered, whatever you want to call the creator, we'll just say creator, God, but whatever, God centered. It's three letters to say God, right? Some people have a problem with saying God, but I don't mean it that way. So be upset if you want to be. But when you are that, there are two things or more that happen, but the two things that are the most major things that I see is that number one, you just being who you are, right? It makes them see who they really are. It makes them see and feel the negativity that they possess, the negative energy base that from which they work from. And they don't like it. It's almost like you're insulting them, right? Here's the other thing. Not only are you revealing to them who they are by their comparison to you, that you're not even aware that they're doing, not aware that they're doing this, they're smiling at you. But deep down, you look in their eyes, you see a different energy. And it's hard for them to maintain the facade of being such a good person. See? The other thing is that the true light that you possess when you are a person who is a light bearer is that deep down, they wish they can be you. Yes, there's no demonic energy out there that's happy in themselves being evil. You think they like it? No, they don't like it. They hate it. This is why they have to distract themselves from their self-hate by attacking you who have no self-hate. You have love for good people. You have love for yourself. It may not have always been that way, but you're at a point in your life where you're self-contained and content, even through the attacks. So deep down, when your head is on straight and you realize who and what you are, you realize that they cannot stop you. They may frustrate you as a human being sometimes. We're human. You get frustrated. When you look at the boxing matches, you fight for 3 minutes and you take a 1 minute break to catch your breath, to receive instructions, and maybe to change the strategy in the fight that you're in with your cornermen who you trust and who want the win for you. So if you have good people around you, even if it's one person, and sometimes you won't even have none, but whoever the creator brings to you on your team, they may not be somebody that you can look at face to face. It may be somebody on the other side of the planet. It may be somebody who you never saw before because you don't know them other than being online, but you've been vibing with them and you speak the same language. See, when you have that, you have so much. And they see your victory in whatever endeavor that you seek to pursue. And they know with their evil negative energy, they cannot shine light. They're on their way out. So the best that they can do is to try to stifle you, try to stop you, try to suck your soul out of you, try to discourage you. This is what they do. This is all they can do. And when they do knock you down, because in a fight you can get knocked down, they feel good about it because you're not shining out what you have on the inside, which is showing them up of what they know on the inside. See, they will try to hijack your positivity by appearing to be you. See? But they can't sustain that but for so long because it's a conflict of the negative things that they have inside of them. And now they're trying to destroy you and hijack your destiny. No, they can't do that. And especially when you're rooted and grounded in who you are and you protect your life, you protect your energy, and you protect your peace at all times. And when you move this way every single day that you wake up, you're striving and you're positive and you're looking forward to the gifts that that day will bring. Do you think they like that? Let me tell you something. It was many years ago, and in my neighborhood in Queens, growing up, we had the houses on the block and we knew everybody. And, I was up early one morning and I was sitting on my front steps. And there were several girls that were living in a particular house and they weren't girls, they were grown women, but they were young. They were in their 20s. I might have been a young teenager. I might have been 13, 14 years old, but I learned a lesson just from this quick moment that I observed. These young ladies, and I'm being nice and calling them young ladies, these young ladies were sitting on the front steps where three of them lived, and they were about maybe eight. And I'm sorry, altogether it was like eight of them. So five were friends who were not visiting. They were up all night, partying, drunk, cussing, scantily clad. They were living that life, right? You could see that. And those five girls were in a car, and there was another car, but they were dropping them home, but they decided to hang out in the front and talk a little bit, and they were loud. They actually, after going to the nightclub, they had a short stay visitation at a hotel with a couple of fellas. So the activities that went down with these guys that they just met. And they were graphic in their detailing of what each one did with a man or two. And yeah, you heard it right. It was just a wild situation. So I'm ear hustling, you know. I'm a young guy. I'm hearing this and I'm laughing to myself, but I'm observing, because they're putting all their business out there. But then there was a car that drove up to the house next door to them. And I know in that house next door to them, there was a young lady who lived there. And it was her boyfriend coming to pick her up because evidently they were going to the gym early in the morning. But they were going for a light breakfast first and they were going to work out. And it was the lady who lived next door, it was her fiance. So now this car comes up and pulls up in front of the house. And the conversation next door with the 8 young ladies who were talking about all the things they did and all the acts they performed a few hours before, that conversation stopped. So when the young man got out of the vehicle, he didn't, he looked their way because he saw people, but they had turned their bodies a certain way so that hopefully he will ogle or get caught up in the lust trap. He glanced, he saw what it was, he kept his eyes straight. So he went to the front door, or by the window by the front door, and tapped it lightly because she was expecting him. And so she came out and she locked the door and she gave him a big hug and she was smiling. She was looking so wholesome. This was a decent young lady who was living clean. And she eventually did marry that young man, right? But you can see that type of energy between them. And so he walked out and he held the door open for her. She got in, he closed the door. And as he walked around the back of the vehicle to go to the driver's side, those other 8 females who were out drinking and smoking and sexing with guys they just met at the club, and they started laughing. They busted out laughing real loud. Now I'm checking all of this out. I said, they weren't saying anything to each other. They were staring down the young lady who got picked up by her fiance. They were quiet and they weren't hiding the fact that they were staring at her and the way that they were looking and the looks on their face, but they tried to maintain a pleasant look because they were trying to get the attention of the fiance. Not that they necessarily wanted to know him, but what I found out was after they drove off, those women stood there until they turned the corner out of sight. Oh man, then the attacks came. Who does she think she is? She thinks she's better than us. She thinks that her SHIT don't stink. She walks around with her nose up in the air and she thinks she's superior. No, no, that's not it. You know the kind of lives that you're living. And you see her light, you see how clean she lived, you see that she's in a relationship, and eventually she got married to this guy, probably like another year or so, and it made them feel like dirt. Her light, being herself, roused up the resentment in those women who were living in a way. Now, I'm not going to say they shouldn't live that way. They're free to do what they want. But you and I both know that they weren't living as they should. They are not going to feel good about themselves, right? You're attacked so much because of your light. And she would, I mean, that for the next hour and a half, they were dropping down tired. I heard them say, well, you know, girl, I got to get something to eat. You know, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting a little tired. But they kept on talking because it stirred up the negative energy that they possessed. And that woman next door didn't say anything bad to them. She really ignored them because from what I'm hearing, this wasn't the first time that they knew who she was. I mean, the 3 girls knew. And so they had a resentment to the point where the 5 who didn't even live there had a resentment toward her because they evidently were talking about her because they felt chastised. So you walking with your light will make some of these people feel chastised. They will look over their life and they'll play the comparison game. That's what they do. And when they identify you as one who lives in positivity, who has high standards, who has a high moral way of living, automatically they do not like it. I've been in situations myself. And again, I'm not saying I'm some person who has, I don't know what light I have. I mean, I know I try to shine out something good, but I'm not running around self-righteous saying, yes, I am this and I am that. Because I've gone through different changes in life and I've never been evil and negative, I tell you that much. But now I think I'm vibrating as high as I possibly can. But I've been in situations where There were social gatherings, and there were people that I knew. Now, there were other people that I may not have known as good, but there were some who were getting to know me over time, several, a mixed situation. There's no crime there, there's no drugs, there's nothing bad going on. Supposedly, these are supposed to be good people. And several times, and this is not just at one function, but this is over the period of decades, that you look at a person in an unguarded moment and you can catch them staring at you so hard and so evil, but a split second until they realize that you're seeing them for who they are and they regroup and try to put on a smile or a pleasant face. But when they didn't think you were observing, and this is more so about seeing their spirit more so than the actual face, but the face will show it when it's unguarded. You're like, okay. And see, it will take you a while to learn that sometime. Because we will take it on face value. Well, they were nice, they were smiling, they said positive things. But did you feel them? I always use the analogy. You can go into a shoe shop, and if you wear a size 10 shoe normally, and you pick a size 10 shoe, it may be by a different person who makes shoes. So the cut of the shoe is a little different. That particular shoe may be too tight, even though the box says, this is a size 10, this is your size. Well, how do you differentiate between buying it and leaving it on the shelf? You put it on, you try it out, the equivalent of testing the spirit, of using your intuition. And when you put your foot in that shoe, you realize it's too tight. That even though you usually wear the size 10, you're going to have to go now. If you want that particular style of shoe, you're going to have to get 10 and a half, or you're going to have to get a shoe that's a little wider because it feels more comfortable, regardless as to what the number says. You have to feel a person regardless as to what their smile says. See, some people believe that they can fool you with the facade of a pleasant demeanor to get in your life, investigate the ins and outs and inner workings of your life so they can run back to the crew, spread your business, talk bad about you, even lie about certain things. So now at this particular junction point in my life, after all the test runs I've had to test how this thing works, I already know. I already know. I can see it from jump. Do I act negative to these people? No. I just quickly remove myself or keep myself away from them. And many times they'll be very aggressive to get around you. Not because they love your light. They're acting like you to get close to you to destroy you because your light makes them feel rotten. Just like the young lady who had the fiance pick her up. Her light made them feel rotten by the way they were living. Could you imagine how dirty they felt? Imagine. That's got to be terrible. And most won't try to correct themselves. They'll blame that person who possesses that light instead of trying to study them in a good way and say, self-reflect, I need to change the core person who I am. I have the world fooled, but I need to go deep down and change who I am because this is not good. But you got to realize that it's very hard for demonic entities to change their energy. They may have a moment where they think about it and in their mind, it's too hard. Let me just go on looking for the kindred spirits who are like me and ride out. But I can't stand those positive people because look, even though you may be a positive person, a good person, right? There's another level to this thing too. See, the world, the decadence that goes on, the negative things that go on, but even if you indulge in things in your life, but you came out of it, you evolved out of it, you have an innocence and a purity about you. Yes, innocence and purity. And I will say, you could have been one of the worst ones out there. But to change that And to see that you need to evolve and change is a very difficult thing. But when you always basically possess that light and it grows over time, and you'll have people who come around you to try to sway you off of that and bring you down the road or down the side of negativity. And a lot of these demons can still donate to charities and, come and give you a boost when your battery runs out and you're stuck on the side of the road, or even offer to loan you a few dollars if they feel that you're struggling. They'll do good deeds to win you over, to bring you in close. See? Because as long as you keep distance between you and these individuals that possess this negativity, they can't touch you. Now, you have the people who believe in certain things that from far away they can, throw their daggers, they can download your pictures and your videos offline and do whatever little technologies they want to do at their altars, thinking that they're people who go all out and do this. Yes. You know how many times I had that done to me, but it didn't work? And the word came back to me. It's like, you hate me that much, you're going to pay somebody to do some rituals? And when those things happen, when you keep yourself anchored in who you are and anchored in the Creator's energy, it's only going to elevate you. That's all it's going to do. It's going to elevate you and make you go higher. And these folks, even if they set you up with an attack that was concrete with your finances or miscalculations or manipulated you into a certain position and it knocked you down for a little bit, and they're looking at you like, wait a second, I thought we had them defeated. I thought we had them destroyed. But look at them rising. You might have been knocked down for a while, but now they're really seething now. But what are they going to do to bring you down? They can't. If the Creator has it for you to rise, especially in the unique way that He made you, there's nothing that can stop you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go through trials and tribulations, but ultimately, all you have to do is hold on. And sometimes, like the boxing match, you fought for 3 minutes and you need that 1 minute break to recuperate, to strategize, because it doesn't mean that this fight's going to be easy, that all you have to do is be a good person and have good light. No, this thing will toughen you up because the negative energies already have the people who are defeated, who gave up. I'm not saying an alcoholic can't come back or a person on drugs can't come back, but when they're indulging in what they're indulging to rid themselves of the trauma and pain that they've been through, the negative energies feel like, okay, we got you beat already. We don't even have to mess around with you. This is why you'll see a lot of happy winos on the street corner. You going to work and you're trying to pay your bills and you have things that you're looking over. You're a good person. You have light, but you're stressed. Yeah. And it's like, wait a second. This person, this wino on the corner hanging out with all the other ones. They were here early in the morning. I'm just getting back from work and they're still out there, peed up their pants, looking stink like they ain't washed for 3 or 4 days. And look at the big smiles on their face, laughing. Lots of people laugh and feel as though they're having a good time when they're defeated. That's the sick part of it all. The negative energies will make them feel as though they're living in bliss. Ignorance is bliss. They're off of their purpose. Deep down, when they face themselves and they come up off of the substances or the distractions that they indulge in to keep themselves from facing the pain, they will see it. And lots of times that will drive them back down deeper. That's why it's so hard. That's why we have sympathy for individuals like that, right? But stay in the fight. Even when you have to take that 1 minute round, a 1 minute break between rounds, rather, excuse me, and come back stronger. Sometimes you had a tough round, You almost got knocked out or you're tired. The next round, you're still in the fight. You may have to coast a little bit. You may not go as hard just so you can ensure that you're going to recuperate so you can come back stronger for the next round. You didn't give the round up and lose it. You may have kept it even so you can recuperate. So you may have to change up sometime. Sometimes you're going to have a mental health day and call out from work just to be still, just to be quiet. Maybe you don't want to answer the phone for a couple of days. You let your friends, family know, listen, I'm okay. I'm just getting into a little meditation and focus if they understand you, because they may not be on that level. They could be family and friends and still not be on that level. But you do what you have to do to keep yourself in the fight. And the number one thing with that is taking care of yourself and self-love, which is not selfish. You'll have the negative people and energies around you who, oh yeah, you selfish. Look at you, always doing something for yourself. Well, what are they doing for you? Are they even giving you an encouraging word to get through the battles and challenges that you face because of the light that you possess? If they're not adding on anything to you, if they don't come to you this way, now it may be a good person who has good light, who they themselves are going through stuff. You'll never lose anything by feeding into them, even when you're not 100%. You see, a candle can light 1,000 candles, can light 10,000 candles, and not lose any power in the flame that wick holds. But you can't invest in the bad energies who will come around and depend on you being nice to help them, only to drain you. They'll play possum. They'll act as though they're in need. They act as though they're hurt. You see, some people come around you. Let's just make an extreme case. You hit the lottery and they know you have money. You didn't say anything about it, but the word got around that you hit a number and you're well off. Now they're okay. But in their negative heart, they will come around and feign as though they're in a financial bind just to see you hand over money to them while hating you at the same time. Ain't that something? You know, these viruses in the world, spiritual viruses. See, we have sexually transmitted diseases, and people say, well, abstinence or wear protection. Men, wear a condom. Or for women, a dental dam or some type of whatever. But we're careful that way most of the time, and we don't realize that we have to wear our spiritual condoms. We don't realize that. So while we're careful who we lay with, if we're laying around with people, if that's the way you're living, you say, well, on my next checkup, I know that I don't have anything because I didn't play unprotected. I'll keep it decent. But then you wonder why you feel depressed. You wonder why your motivation is low. You wonder why sometimes there's some who will even feel suicidal or feel just like they're quitting, like they don't have anything left and they don't know why. Because you have those spiritually transmitted diseases that are plugged into you, those soul ties. See, soul ties, you can get soul ties from more sources than just sex. Sex is a sure way to get soul ties and to speak on that, because this is important too, because sex is a way that a person can steal your light. They don't even like you, but they don't want you to have the light that you have, and they want to get high off of your light while it quickly leaves you and goes to them. It's a rush for them while they're hating you, right? The person who steals something from somebody, do you think they really enjoy it when they knew how they got it? This is why when you work hard for something, you sacrifice for something, and you finally achieve it, and I'm speaking of material goods to explain things on a spiritual level. Man, you cherish it, you take care of it, you honor it, you don't worship it, but you worked hard for it and you're proud. And you think of how you sacrifice, but that gives you strength to achieve the next thing because you know that you have what it takes. If a person stole something from you, do you think they have the same pride of ownership that you do? No, they stole it. So while they walk around and primp, say, for example, you work hard to get the vehicle that you have. It may not be top of the line in luxury, but it's yours. It may even be a Toyota Corolla. Nothing wrong with a Toyota Corolla. That's more than what I have. I don't even have a vehicle right now by choice, right? But the bottom line is that person who stole it, not only don't they have the pride of ownership or the memory of sacrifice, no, they got to look over their shoulder that they may get caught and get thrown in jail. So going back to the STDs, the spiritually transmitted diseases, and the soul ties that can come, just being around people enough. It's like touching a wire that's hot. See? So their spirit can rub off on you. And I do feel that you can get a soul tie like that because you adopt their mindset, you adopt their energy. And why are you around these people anyway when you know that there's no good in them? But also, going back to the sexual part, it's deeper than when people say on the surface a soul tie. That's worthy of its own conversation. But when you lay with somebody and people say, well, you're connected to them, you have a soul tie, most people don't understand that you're inheriting their pain, you're inheriting their frustration, you're inheriting their mindset. You average out with these people or this person who you're in the bed with who may look so good, who may do all the things you love the way you like it. Let's not get too lewd now. Well, you understand if you're listening to this at this point, you are an adult. And now you're turned out by the physicality. You're turned out by the facade, but they're robbing your energy. This is why when you lay in the bed or wherever you did the act, and I'm going to ask you to think back on your own life. I'm not saying this is what you did, but try to think. Sometimes in life, you may have been intimate with someone and everything was fabulous on a physical level. On a surface level, they seemed to be a great person. You considered, wow, this wasn't within the boundaries of a relationship. And if it's this good and they're as good as they seem in the world, I might want a little more from this person, but not realizing that they're getting from you, not realizing they don't really love you. They want your light. This is why they like to violate. This is why, and I'm not demonizing men, but I have to say it this way because we have women like this too, right? And I'll do both examples. You see some guys who are not really about anything standing out on the corner. Doesn't mean they're evil, but they're not good. They've been out all night hustling. And they see a young lady out there, a woman, who will do anything with anybody as long as she gets something out the deal. And then they see the woman who has a job, going to school. She may still live at home with her family, and they know that she's stacking paper. She's not dating anybody, but she lives a clean life, a purpose-driven life. She has goals. Why? When it's the same act performed, why do these guys who have nothing going on and don't want nothing going on in their life, why do they want the woman who is about something, who's untouched? Yes, untouched that way. They want her. They don't want the little, I'm going to say it, I'm sorry. They don't want that heifer that's out there laying up with everybody that they can easily get. They want the one that they know they can't get because they want to violate her. They get a pleasure because they know they're no good, but they got a chance to play in the yard that's clean, to be with somebody who is not touched, and then turn around when they're around their buddies, partners in crime, like it's a victory. You think she's good? She was all right, but I was the first to get her. So even if she made a mistaken judgment and he could fall lower in life, and she goes on to the successes and gets married and has a business and whatever, in his mind, in his decadent, negative, demonic mind, he has something over her. So no matter how good she appears to the world, I had her. But look at the standard. See, when we meet people, we got to try to figure out what their standards are. And when you are a person of high standard, they will act like they have high standards just to devalue you, just to deface you. This is what they do. It's a lot. There's layers and layers of this stuff. They say birds of a feather flock together. You lay it with something like that, you're going to feel it. I didn't make the point, but like I said, when you lay it with somebody new, right? I mean, technically, I can't say anything. I mean, I had a crazy life, right? But because of that, I know this. And that person's energy is not right, and you're not vibrating on the same frequency, the next few days, you feel like something is off. You don't necessarily have a headache, but you feel drained. You want to lay down. Your enthusiasm is off. You don't feel this low usually, and you try to figure out what it was. And if you don't realize what happened, that you gave up more than your body, you gave your energy to this person. It's just like I've described it this way before for the ladies who may be like this. So I gave it to you for the guys. I'm going to give it to you for the wayward ladies. You have ladies out here. I say ladies to be nice. I can say other things. Don't think they're carrying themselves like ladies. I used the example before. I'm going to rehash it because I think it's a good example. You have a neighborhood, a subdivision, and you have a woman who is living alone. Now, again, don't think that I'm trying to say if you don't have a person that something's wrong with you. A lot of people say that. It may mean on the good side, you don't want to be bothered with anybody, that you're saving yourself, okay? But this particular situation is where this woman is by herself and she's resentful. She's been in relationships but didn't know how to approach them. She's been in relationships and just dove into it, not understanding, and has been hurt and taken advantage of. So now she's very resentful. She sees the family across the street. She sees the wife. She sees the husband. They appear to be faithful and loving. She sees the children that are the byproduct of that union. And yes, sometimes the children, mess up and you hear them getting punished, but not very often. They're moving well. And she looks out of her window and she says to herself, why can't I have it that way? And even good women think that sometimes, or they'll use that as uh, a motivational visual for their lives. Well, there's that kind who sees that union, and it's not perfect. They may have had disagreements that weren't too loud and she could hear it, but she's resentful. And remember, this is a certain type of woman. So now she realizes that the wife and the children left to go out of town, and maybe the husband had to stay because of work. So it seems like he's home for a couple of weeks by himself. And they all know each other. She's been over there before, and they've been over to her house before on a cordial way. They're not friends where they hang out, but they know each other. They wave at each other and they speak. But now, deep down, there was something else going on. She's been very resentful of their union. Maybe not even necessarily them, but it haunts her because when she has said to herself, because of the relationship, uh, I won't say failures, I'll say misjudgments, because a lot of us set ourselves up because of the ignorance of knowing how to enter into a union and what to look for. And a lot of times we don't even know ourselves. We're not even ready. But for many years, she said, you know what? All men are dogs. All men are no good. They all want one thing. And then when they get the one thing, they leave and never come back. Now, I'm not going to say there's not a great majority of men out there who don't think that way. Of course, they're there. But she has closed the door on the possibility that there may be one good man out there for her. And instead of being resentful at the neighbors across the street who exemplify all things in a good marriage that she always craved, maybe if she worked on herself and cleansed herself of her own resentments, that whatever good is inside of her that she didn't take time to cultivate, somebody would see it. But whenever we start looking at other people and being resentful on any level, that's time for us to look within, something she didn't do. So she can't say all men are dogs, because that husband across the street always treated her with respect. He always kept his eyes to himself. He always kept the tone of his voice respectful. Because, there's ways that we as men can speak to women to let them know exactly what we want. See? And there are ways that we can keep it in check to know, listen, I'm respecting myself, I'm respecting you, and that kind of thing is not going down without even saying it. They know. So she decides to be that damsel in distress. She sees him outside in the yard, and she thinks now to make her move. Not because she really wants this man. This is not what it's all about. And fellas, you got to understand that a lot of women who are coming at you, they're not coming at you because they like you. They want to violate you, just like that dude on the street wanted to violate that good woman who was in school and working and living at home and didn't have a reputation. Because if she can get you in the bed when you have this pristine facade, it confirms what she wants to hold on to, that all men are dogs. So this is why they will come after the ones who carry themselves in a clean way, who are in relationships. They want to violate so it can make them feel good at night when they are lonely and resentful and full of venom. So what does she do? She doesn't make it super obvious, but she walks across the street knowing that the wife is not home. She stands by the gate to appear respectable, that I'm not going to just walk in your gate and walk in your yard like that. She waits until he might be weed whacking or whatever, and then he comes around the side and he sees her. So he waves. So evidently she's standing by the gate. She wants to talk. So he cuts the weed whacker off and he walks toward her. He's got grass all over him and stuff. And he's a good man. He's taking care of stuff. He's not out there crazy. So she's smiling at him, and what she's wearing is a little too tight, maybe a little too short, or maybe a little too revealing in the cleavage department. Not by much, but just enough that you can see the beauty of the booty or the beauty of the plunging neckline. So she's smiling and she's studying him now, watching his eyes. His eyes haven't violated anything yet. So she's saying that, if he could come over and do something with her grass and her weeds, her weed whacker that nobody knew she had broke, and she has to get another one. But if you can just kindly help me out now, because I have some company coming over tomorrow and I want the yard looking nice. So he says, okay, I'll do it. I only have 10 more minutes and I'll just get a little something to drink because I'm thirsty, and I'll come over. And she says, no, don't worry about it. I have iced tea. I got lemonade. I got orange juice. I can make you some fresh mango juice, whatever. Oh, really? Okay, no problem. He's going over there in an innocent manner and figure, well, I'm going to be outside. I'm not going inside her house. Nobody could say anything. But since he doesn't think that way, he goes over and she invites him in. Ain't that something? So now he's sipping on the mango juice, freshly made. And she's standing and talking with him and telling him how much she admires him and how much she admires the union and the family and how sweet his wife is. But he notices that she's not making sure that her clothes are staying on. She has a robe on now, and it's like she forgot that there's a belt around the robe that's hanging free. So now I don't have to go no further with this. You know where I'm going. He can make up his mind. He's not dumb. He can say to himself, I can stay and let this play out. My wife is not around. I'm over her house now. And even though she wanted me to come over to whack those weeds, there's something else she wants whacked. So either you can do the favor and not fall victim, and she knows you know, and she knows she's looking good. She lets you know, well, if you're home by yourself and you're a little lonely, you could always come and stay with me. She makes it obvious. He goes and says, I need to fulfill my promise to you and clean up your yard. She doesn't realize his rejection yet, but he goes and does what he has to do. And so she says, well, in the bottom of the blender, there's a whole lot of that mango juice left over. Why don't you come on in and get the rest of it? And he's like, no, what you gave me was fine. I have some business to take care of on the computer at home, and you need to have a wonderful day. And he leaves. So guess what? He knows. He feels more empowered. He wasn't going to do anything anyway. But now she's pushed deeper into that anger that she can't say that all men are dogs because he didn't bite. It takes that one. Now, she may still try to do that. But lots of times we try, I'm not saying to anybody listening, but the negative spirited people who have their resentments, their life becomes a never ending volley of attempts to violate because of how they feel about themselves. So now when you meet a new person, and I don't mean just for relationships, if you're a man, you might meet a man who has the same hobbies. You might be at a car show. You might be at an art gallery, and he's an artist. And hey, we cool. Here's my number, man. I like your website. You just showed it to me on your phone, whatever. And the more he finds out about you, the more he might resent you because he sees into your life more. So you may have the common thing of what you do, but that doesn't mean everything that you're about, they're about in their spirit. You see what I mean? So you have to be very careful. Doesn't mean you have to be paranoid. You just always have to keep the spiritual eye open. And when you get around people, wear your spiritual condoms. Because there are a lot of thieves out here that wear a smile on their face and they have bad intentions for you. And as much as they try to violate you, that's just as much as you get rid of them or avoid them altogether. And then they'll be even more resentful when they realize that you knew their game all along. The Creator has brought wonderful people in my life. I have a tremendous inner circle right now. And they're proven. I don't need to know the whole world. I don't need to have 1 million or 2 million subscribers. I don't need, through what I've been through online and through online activities and people who hate on you because you're doing this online. Look, tend to your life. Don't hate on me. I've been through my struggles and I'm victorious now. I am where I am and I'm happy where I am. I'm happy where I stand at this particular age of 63 years old. See, most people, oh man, you 63? Man, you almost out of here. Well, you might be 25 years old and were never in here, meaning you never tasted life. I'm not into the ageism. I'm not into hating on somebody because they're younger. Just the same way when I was younger, I never hated on anybody because they were older. If anything, they were a source, a resource of wisdom for me. Even if they didn't live a perfect life, there may be a nugget of wisdom that they can offer you. You see, so many times we reject wisdom as it comes to us because we look at the trajectory of their lives and they're finally coming around now, but we're looking at what people say about them. You see what I mean? I was in Atlantic City one night, I think for like 3 days, and it was a group because when I had my van, my Chevy Astro van back in the 90s, I would also do other things. I did moving jobs. I had another bigger van, and with the Chevy Astro, it was real nice and neon and nice rims and sound system, dark tint. And I'm a smooth driver. I have to admit, if you don't know, I have a reputation for being a great driver. But anyway, drove these guys out to Atlantic City. They paid for my hotel room. They paid me. They paid everything, food, gas, everything. So I'm hanging out with these people I don't really know, but we got along fine, right? I was just a silent driver, you know. I ate good, had a good time. So on our way out of there, to get to the highway, it was kind of tough. And we left out at night. We stayed over into the next day and they paid extra because we were supposed to check out around 11 o'clock that morning. We stayed. So we actually paid for, or they actually paid for a whole day and they ended up leaving about midnight, 1 o'clock. So here we are in Atlantic City, getting ready to come back to New York City. And we're driving, but the road that I knew, because I wasn't out there all the time, but I was out there enough because it's not a far drive. The road that I knew was blocked and it had detours. And in the construction, I believe they removed some of the signs that said where you had to go. So I'm kind of driving around in circles, trying to get on the on ramp to the highway. I asked different people. They didn't know. Now, this is late at night, so, you stop somebody looking at you all scared because they think you're trying to shoot them or something. So you had to yell it out. Listen, I'm trying to get on the highway, whatever. And they're standing on the sidewalk, tentative, like, I hope this guy's not going to try to do anything to me. So about 3 or 4 people gave me directions that led to be back in the same spot. They didn't know. So I was like, oh, man. And we were looking at part of the highway. It was a little distance away, but how do we get there? And it was a residential neighborhood, too. So we driving up, got to the stop sign. There was a dude sitting there on the curb, leaning back on a fire hydrant, drunk, urinated his pants. And look, when you're bad with the alcohol, you start doing that, not even caring, you're far gone. So anyway, I said, let me ask this guy. And the guy said, man, he's not going to tell you nothing. He's going to waste your time, man. He's drunk. He don't know what's going on. I said, let me give it a shot. I'm here. I said, excuse me, brother, do you know how I can get on the highway? Ah, yeah, you're the third one who asked me. The guy in the back of my van said, man, you wasting your time. I said, do you know how to get there? He said, all you got to do is go straight 3 blocks, go under the highway, go on the other side, and come right again and stay right, and you'll get up on the on-ramp. The guy would say, man, that don't even sound right. We're going to get more lost. I said, no, look, we tried 3 times before. It didn't get us anywhere. So I tried it. And we got on the highway. I was like, see that? He was right. But what was the lesson in that? That even in his reduced position, he had wisdom enough to share with me how to get on the highway. He didn't have his life together, but at the same time, his spirit wasn't evil. He may have been defeated in life for a little bit. So we got to discern these things when we see these situations. He was the man who had the answer. And if I listened to the guys in the van, then I would have lost out. who knows how long we would have been driving around, probably until I found a cop or something like that. So always check out what's coming into your space. Always check out what's coming into your world, into your life. And a lot of times, and I've said this before, we tend to look at people and evaluate them on a surface level, on how we see them. And if we use our discernment on a deeper spiritual level, we'll get it. But what we have to figure out is that, what does this person see in me? And it's not that everybody wants you for something or to use you or people are bad, but how do they view you? That can cut a lot of stuff at the door. Do they see me as somebody who's a kindred spirit that is a motivational individual? Or do they see me as a free ride, a meal ticket, or a resource behind a smiling face? You see what I mean? And we don't even look at that. We get compliments, we get gassed up. Yeah, come on in. They make you feel good. They said some nice things to me. So I'm going to let them into the inner sanctuary. No. Does a decent woman open her thighs for every compliment that she gets? Because a lot of times those compliments are simply to get to that sacred place. So you have to be careful and enjoy life, but have all your spiritual systems working at full capacity. It's like that smoke detector. We put the battery in and it works silently, automatically. But a lot of us now, we forget, even when the smoke detector is screaming out at us, we forget to put in a new battery. It's something. Ah, yes, KD. And Shara said, how are you? Yes, indeed. I'm free today for the most part. I'm going to be doing content. I'm up early and I wanted to get to it so much. I said, let me do a live on the balcony so I don't have to go through all the editing. Plus, I had an urgency to speak. You know, when you have to go, you have to go. Not to be lewd, but when you want to share something that's on your mind, sometime it's not going to be as fancy. So I said, let me come out here. And for those in the future who will say that this is some kind of fake uh, AI image, here's my hand. If you tell me how many fingers to put up, I'll do it. Right. But I just woke up before I started. So I wasn't I like to shave and, you know, feel clean. And even though I feel clean, even when I get on camera, I gotta be right. I can't get out there all messed up. I'm a clean person. So that's my standard, no matter what. But I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. And I'm actually gonna go back up on the higher balcony and record something. And it's gonna be my day. We're gonna have Malik Aziz coming around uh noon Eastern Standard Time in the States for the Muslim Street. I just run that show. I may say a few words here and there. We'll be here then. And I'm going to create some things before then. And I might come out here later on like this. This is so easy to make. And it's wonderful. A good friend of mine came by the other day and he took a whole big bag of avocados, bananas, all kind of stuff. So that's what the Bill Gates types don't like when you have your own stuff. They want you to eat that GMO stuff. That's a whole different topic. I'm rambling now. But watch these GMO people with their hidden agendas and secret motivations. Use your spiritual discernment to weed through the people who are not in your corner. I want to say one more little quick thing about that. There were some people in my life a couple of years back, and this is in the States. And we were videotaping. We were doing something, and I won't say exactly because I'm giving away who the person is, right? Or the people. But we were somebody close to us. We were helping them do some stuff in their yard. And we had wheelbarrows and we were going back and forth, moving dirt. And it wasn't me holding the camera, it was someone else. And so I'm walking by and I made a funny face at the camera and kept going. And they walked by, this particular man, And he looked at me. I had my back turned, looked at the person videotaping, not realizing that this is being captured. And they made this unfavorable look like, can't stand this guy. Shook their head, not realizing that that was caught. Well, guess I'm editing. I'm looking, I'm like, wow. And I saved it. And I showed Mrs. Scurv, and she couldn't believe it. You never know, and you can swear by these people. You see what I mean? If I got a problem with you and we cool, I'm gonna let you know. You know what I mean? Not out of anger. And you'll take it the right way if you have the right spirit. And if you have a problem with something that I said unknowingly, let me know. So a bond can become stronger. See? But with us as a people, you know, we got that unity problem. Hopefully we get around people who are not like that. Anyway. Ah, Gifty. How are you? Yes, I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Yes, I am. I had to come out. You know, there's a certain individual in my life who shares lots of wisdom with me, and we talk, and it inspired me. I'll say it that way. But I'm gonna go in and get something to eat. And it was along those veins, conversations that I had earlier that inspired me to say what I said. And it's beautiful out here. And I thank the creator. I want to remain anchored and know that when the battles come, it oftentimes it lets you know that you're closer to the victory. They wouldn't fight so hard if you weren't close to the victory. Take that little minute between rounds, recuperate, and know. Just like that rainstorm, you're on the highway, it's like, I can't see. Sometimes it takes you to go under the overpass and put the blinkers on, and in 5 minutes, it looks like paradise. You just see water dripping off the trees and say, man, it's like it never rained. But you had sense enough to pull over and avoid an accident that may have happened because you pushed and didn't realize how much at risk you were. Anyway, I'm in a talkative mood, but my stomach is talking to me. So know that I love you all. Take care. LanceScurv out. And I will see you and talk to you on the next one, which will be today. All right? Take care. Much love.